Smoke still filled the sky above Bastion 9, but now something had changed. Fear had not disappeared, but hope had arrived with the humans. Captain Rains and his soldiers stood tall, their black armor shining under the orange sky, their weapons still worn from battle. Karnak's soldiers, old and young, gathered around them, eyes full of wonder and questions. Commander Velthar walked beside Rains as they moved through the damaged outer wall. "You are only 20 soldiers," Velthar said, "but you fought like an army." Rains gave a small smile. "We are not here to hold the wall. We're here to break the enemy." The Karnak didn't understand at first. 20 soldiers against thousands of Tarn. It made no sense. But Rains didn't explain further. He just looked at the map table and began marking positions with calm precision. "These," he pointed, "are Tarn forward units. We'll hit them first. Fast, before they regroup." Velthar shook his head. "That is a suicide mission." Rains turned to him. "That's why we're here. We are not diplomats. We're shock troopers." Later that night, the humans moved out. They didn't wait for a full rest. They didn't ask for support. They moved like shadows, quiet and deadly. Each human carried weapons no one on Velmer had ever seen. Guns that fired energy rounds, explosives that bent gravity, and small drones that mapped every inch of the battlefield. The lead scout, Nina, was fast and focused. She was young, but deadly. She ran ahead of the team, marking enemy spots with a flick of her wrist device. From a cliffside, she saw a Xarn patrol station, 10 units guarding a power relay. She spoke softly through her comm. "Target locked. 10 Xarn. Light armor. I can breach from the east." Rains replied, "Wait for the signal." We moved together. 10 seconds later, the signal came. The humans fell on the patrol like wolves. 1 minute later, all 10 Xarn were dead. No noise, no survivors. Meanwhile, inside Bastion 9, the Karnak soldiers watched the battlefield on a screen. For the first time, they saw the Xarn bleed. One young soldier, barely old enough to fight, asked his officer, "Why are they helping us? What do they want?" The officer answered quietly, "I don't know, but I think they hate the Xarn more than we do." By morning, the humans had destroyed 3 Tarn positions. They returned covered in dust and burns, but alive. Velthar waited for them at the gates. "Why did you not wait for us?" he asked. "We could have helped." Rains wiped sweat from his face. "Because you're still protecting civilians. We are not here to defend. We are here to hunt." Velthar looked down. "I've never seen anyone fight like you, not even our best warriors." Rains nodded. "Because we've fought the Tarn before. They came to Earth once. Long ago." Velthar was surprised. "You survived." "Barely," Rains said. "But we learned. We adapted. And we promised. Never again." That night, the Karnak opened part of their base to the humans. The mood was still tense, but changing. Some Karnak children watched the humans from behind walls, curious but scared. One child got too close and slipped near the edge of a broken floor. A Xarn landmine still lay there, forgotten. It clicked. Nina saw it and ran. She threw herself forward, grabbed the child, and rolled just as the mine exploded. The fire blew past her, but she protected the child with her body. When the smoke cleared, she was burned and bleeding, but alive. The child was unhurt. The Karnak who saw it began to whisper, "These humans, they were not just killers. They cared." Back in the command center, alarms rang again. A scout drone showed a massive object moving in the desert. "What is that?" Velthar asked. The screen zoomed in. A huge machine walked across the sand, taller than a tower, covered in heavy armor. 4 legs, giant cannons on each side, glowing eyes. "A Titan walker," Rain said softly. Velthar's face turned pale. That is death. Even we don't have weapons for something like that." The screen showed the Titan stepping over dunes, crushing rocks and metal as it came closer. "Then we'll have to use something special," Rain said. He opened a secure line on his wrist device. "Code Black," he said. "Request Project Reaper." The signal sent. No one in the room knew what it meant. "What is Project Reaper?" Velthar asked. Rain stared at the Titan walker on the screen. "Our answer," he said. "But it will take time to get here. We just have to survive until then." As the sun set, the Titan walker kept moving. Its footsteps shook the earth. Tarn ships flew behind it. The sky turned red once more. Inside Bastion 9, both humans and Karnak prepared for what was coming. But now, the Karnak no longer felt alone. And the Xarn, they had never faced anything like the humans. The victory at the enemy base gave the humans and Talari new hope. But Captain Ayres knew better than to relax. The Empire is wounded, he said to his team, but it will fight back harder. The Talari and humans worked side by side, repairing ships, training soldiers, and planning their next move. Deep in the heart of the galaxy, the Empire's High Lord was furious. "We will crush them," he declared. He sent out his deadliest weapon, a super weapon known as the Scorcher. It was a massive ship, armed with a weapon that could burn entire planets to ash. Back on Varelion, the people prepared for the worst. Elder Mevin spoke to the crowd. "We stand together," he said. "We are not alone." Captain Ayres visited schools, hospitals, and homes. He told the people, "Our fight is for freedom, for the future." The Scorcher entered Varelion's system. Its weapon charged slowly, glowing bright like a terrible sun. The humans and Talari raced against time. "We must stop it before it fires," Ayres ordered. The final battle began. Ships clashed in space with fire and fury. The Iron Will and other human ships attacked the Scorcher. Talari fighters fought fiercely. Inside the Scorcher, Ayres and a small team boarded the enemy ship. Their mission was dangerous: destroy the weapon from inside. They moved quietly through dark corridors. They fought guards and dodged traps. Finally, they reached the weapon's core. With seconds left, Ayres placed explosives. "Get ready to run," he shouted. The team escaped just as the weapon exploded. Outside, the Scorcher began to fall. The enemy ship was destroyed. Back on Varelion, cheers erupted. The rising flame of hope was now afire. The humans and Talari had won a great victory. Elder Maven smiled. "The future is ours," he said. Ayres looked at the stars. "This is only the start," he said. "But humanity's warriors will never give up." The calm after the first strike was short. The Empire was furious. In their dark throne room, the High Lord sat on a giant black chair, his face hidden in shadows. Around him stood his commanders, cold, ruthless, and ready for war. "Humans and their allies think they can challenge us," the High Lord said slowly. "They have made a grave mistake." He raised a hand, and a hologram of the freed slaves and the damaged outpost appeared. "We will destroy them. No mercy." Back on Varelion, the news of the Empire's threat spread fast. The Talarian humans prepared for the worst. Captain Ayres gathered his officers. "The Empire will come for us," he said. "They have the numbers, the weapons, the power, but we have something they don't." Lieutenant Ramos looked at him. "What's that?" "Hope, unity, and the will to fight." The humans and Talari worked harder than ever, training soldiers, repairing ships, and building defenses. Meanwhile, in the dark corners of space, the Empire sent its best hunters, elite warriors and deadly assassins, on a mission to destroy the human fleet and crush the rebellion before it could grow. Among them was Karavesh, a fierce and cunning assassin, known for her deadly skills and merciless nature. Her ship was small and fast, perfect for hit-and-run attacks. She smiled cruelly as she watched the star maps. "The humans will regret this," she whispered. The first attack came without warning. The Empire ships appeared suddenly in Varelion's orbit. The human and Talari fleets scrambled to defend the planet. Lasers cut through the dark sky. Explosions lit up space. But the Empire's hunters were fast and deadly. Several human ships were destroyed. The Talari panic grew. Inside the Battle Command Center, Captain Ayres shouted orders. "Focus on protecting the city. Keep the civilians safe." His voice was calm but firm. A young Talari pilot named Kira flew her fighter through the chaos. Her hands shook, but her eyes were determined. She fired at the incoming enemy ships, taking down 2 before her shields were hit. She crashed near the city, escaping just in time. After the attack, the Talari gathered in the ruined streets. Many were wounded. Many were scared. Elder Mevin looked at the destruction. "This is only the beginning," he said softly. "But we will stand." Captain Ayres and his team worked to find the enemy base. They discovered it was hidden on a small moon, deep in the dark sector of the galaxy. The humans planned a surprise attack. This time, Ares said, "We strike before they come again." The night before the attack, the soldiers prepared quietly. Talari and humans shared stories, songs, and hopes. Kira, the young pilot, sat beside Ares. "Will we win?" she asked. Ares smiled gently. "Winning is not about today, it's about never giving up." The next day, the fleet moved out. Stealth ships flew through the dark, approaching the enemy moon. Explosions and gunfire echoed in space. The battle was fierce and brutal. The Empire's hunters fought hard. But the humans and Talari fought harder. In the end, the enemy base was destroyed. Karavesh escaped, but the message was clear. The Empire's power was not absolute. Back on Varelion, the people celebrated quietly. They knew the road ahead was long and dangerous. But hope burned brighter than ever. Captain Ayres looked at the stars. "We have shown them," he said, "that humanity's warriors have returned, and we will never stop fighting." The battle was over. Bastion 9 stood battered but alive. The sky was quiet now, the stars shining softly above the desert planet. Captain Rains walked among the ruins. His armor was scratched and dirty, but his eyes were clear. Around him, soldiers, human and Karnak, helped each other, fixing walls, caring for the wounded. Commander Velthar joined him, his face serious but hopeful. "We survived," Velthar said. Rains nodded. "More than survived. We won." The hive nest was destroyed. The High Queen was dead. The Xarn fleet had retreated. But the victory came with a heavy cost. Many brave souls were lost. Friends who had stood strong now lay silent beneath the desert sands. Rains knelt by a small memorial built near the command center. Names were carved in stone, names of those who gave everything. "We fight so they don't have to," he whispered. In the days after the battle, life slowly returned to Bastion 9. Farmers planted crops. Engineers repaired machines. Children laughed again in the dusty streets. The humans and Karnak worked side by side. Old fears and distrust melted away in the heat of shared struggle. Velthar visited the training grounds, watching new soldiers practice together. "Humans are stronger than we thought," he said to Rains. "And smarter," Rains replied with a smile. But far beyond the planet, in the silent depths of space, the Karn were not finished. Over Mine Jaren, the cold, glowing mine core lay dormant but plying. "They will regret underestimating humans," it said. "They always do." Back on Bastion 9, a meeting was held in the Grey Hall. Leaders from both species gathered to plan the future. Rains stood before them. "We face many challenges," he said, "but today we start something new. We build peace," Velthar added. Together, Rains finished. The room filled with hope and determination. The war had tested them all, but had also united them. They had learned that strength was not just weapons or machines. It was courage. It was friendship. It was the will to stand and fight, not just for survival, but for a future worth living. In the weeks that followed, Bastion 9 became a symbol of unity, a symbol of hope, a place where humans and Karnak rebuilt, trained, and prepared for whatever came next, because they knew the universe was vast and dangerous. But now, they were ready. Rain stood on a cliff, watching the twin suns set. Beside him, Velthar smiled. "We have won the battle," Velthar said. "But the war for peace, that has just begun." Rains nodded. "We will meet it. Together." The stars shone bright. The new dawn had come. Humans were no longer alone in the galaxy. They were part of something bigger, stronger, unstoppable. The people of Varelion stood in silence. The smoke from the battle still hung in the air. Broken pieces of slaver ships lay burning in the streets. The Talari had never seen such destruction, or such power. But this time, the destruction had saved them. The human soldiers moved through the city, helping the wounded and checking for hidden slavers. Their armor was dark gray, covered in strange marks and flags. Their eyes were sharp, but calm. They looked like machines, but they spoke like men. One of the Talari children, a small girl named Selly, walked toward a tall human soldier. She held out a fruit, one of the last left on the planet. The human took off his helmet. He had brown skin, tired eyes, and a kind smile. "Thank you," he said softly. "You're brave." The Talari were confused. Why would such powerful warriors act with kindness? Elder Maven and a few leaders were taken to the central command tent, the humans had built outside the city. Inside, large screens showed the sky, the ground, and strange star maps. Soldiers moved with perfect order. At the center stood Captain Ayres. Mavin stepped forward. You came from the stars to help us. But why? No one else did. Ayres looked at the old man with a serious face. We are from Earth, a small planet. Long ago, we tried to be part of the galaxy. But the empires laughed at us. They destroyed our colonies. They pushed us away. He paused. So we disappeared. We hid. We built. And we waited. Mavin frowned. Waited for what? Ayres answered with steel in his voice. Waited for the right moment to return. The Talari leaders looked at each other in shock. This small, forgotten race had become strong. Strong enough to defeat slaver armies with only a few ships. We've heard your signal, Ayres continued. Too many ignored it. But we didn't. We don't leave the weak behind. Mavin asked slowly, what do you want in return? Ayres shook his head. Nothing. You don't know us. This fight is ours too. The Talari still didn't fully understand. Kindness without payment? Protection without control? No species in the galaxy worked like that, but humans were different. Just then, an officer rushed in. Captain, long-range scan, new contacts. A large alien ship is approaching. Class, Imperial Mothership. Ayres' eyes narrowed. How long until it arrives? 3 hours. Mavin turned pale. That is a death ship. We have no defense against it. Ayres looked at him calmly. You don't have to. We'll handle it. Outside, the Talari watched as the humans began moving fast. Large vehicles rolled through the streets. Energy cannons were placed on rooftops. Drones flew in the sky. Children whispered. They're not soldiers. They're warriors. Meanwhile, in orbit above Varelian, the Imperial Mothership moved like a monster. Its size blocked the stars. Inside, the alien commander, a cruel being named Exerthal, laughed when he saw the burning slaver ships. Humans, he hissed. So they have returned. He ordered his weapons prepared. Crush them. Burn the planet if needed. Back on the ground, Captain Ayres stood on the wall of the old Talari temple, watching the sky. A young Talari scientist asked him, Do you really think you can stop that ship? Ayres nodded. We don't need to stop it. Just show the galaxy that we won't kneel. The Talari were scared, but something was changing inside them. For the first time in their history, they wanted to fight back. Not just hide. Not just pray, but resist. As the mothership entered the atmosphere, the humans activated their defense grid. Giant railguns turned upward. Missile silos opened. Stealth drones flew out. Captain Ayres gave the order. Target locked. Ready for first strike. Mavin looked up and whispered, May the stars protect us. Ayres replied, No, we protect each other now. The earth trembled under heavy footsteps. From the North Desert, the massive Titan walker moved closer to Bastion 9. It was over 100 feet tall, a walking war machine with thick black armor, glowing red energy lines, and 2 giant cannons on its back. It was built to destroy cities in minutes. The Xarn had brought their strongest weapon. Inside Bastion 9, alarms screamed. Soldiers ran to battle stations. Civilians were moved to deep shelters. Everyone knew this could be the final battle. Commander Velthar stood on the observation deck, watching the dust cloud rise from the Titan's approach. We don't have anything strong enough to stop it, he said quietly. Captain Rains stood beside him, helmet under his arm, eyes sharp. Project Reaper is on its way, Rains said. Velthar turned. What is it? Rains didn't look at him. You'll see. Outside the walls, human soldiers worked fast. They set up energy shields, portable turrets, and small plasma mines. The terrain was being shaped into a trap, something that might slow the Titan, even if just for a few minutes. Sergeant Tucker, an old soldier with a scar on his face, planted the last charge. This thing better work, he muttered. That Titan's gonna crush us like ants. Private Soto, the youngest of the team, looked up at the massive shadow moving in the distance. It's like a walking mountain, he said. Tucker grunted. Then we make it fall. Back inside the base, Velthar asked the question everyone feared. What if Project Reaper doesn't arrive in time? Rains looked at him. Then we die fighting. Like humans. Like Karnak. Soon, the Titan Walker reached the edge of Bastion 9's range. Without warning, it opened fire. Boom! A plasma shell flew through the sky and hit a guard tower. The explosion shook the entire mountain. Fire burst from the impact site. Screams followed. The Karnak fired back with everything they had: missiles, plasma cannons, rail guns. But the Titan's armor was too strong. The weapons only scratched it. Then the Titan raised one of its legs and stepped onto the battlefield. Captain Rains gave the order. Phase 1. Go. The humans triggered the first wave of traps. Boom, boom, boom. Mines exploded beneath the Titan's legs. Energy spikes burst from the ground. A wave of electromagnetic pulses fired from hidden devices. The Titan staggered. One of its knees buckled slightly. For a second, it looked like it might fall. But then, its systems adjusted. The red lights glowed brighter. It roared, a deep metallic sound that echoed across the land. Then it fired again. Another tower collapsed. The walls of Bastion 9 shook. Debris flew through the air. Velthar grabbed the edge of the screen. This is not working. Rains tapped his communicator. Where's Reaper? No answer. Then, from high in the sky, a shadow fell. A giant drop pod, bigger than any other, fell through the clouds. Flames burned around it as it crashed behind Bastion 9. Karaoam. The earth shook again, but this time, not from the Titan. Everyone turned. From the pod, something climbed out. It was tall, metal, human-shaped. Its eyes glowed blue. Its body was covered in thick armor plates and shoulder-mounted cannons. It was nearly as tall as the Titan Walker, a machine made by humans, built for one purpose: destroy monsters. Velthar gasped. What is that? Rains finally smiled. That is Project Reaper. Inside the cockpit of Reaper, Commander Hartley, a battle-hardened human pilot, locked in her systems. Her voice came through the comms. Target locked. Beginning assault. The Karnak watched as Reaper walked toward the Titan. With each step, the ground cracked beneath it. The Titan turned and fired. But Reaper was faster than expected. It rolled to the side, dodging the plasma shell, and then launched a missile from its shoulder. It hit the Titan in the chest, an explosion of fire and smoke. The two giants charged at each other. And then, they collided. Metal smashed against metal. Cannons fired. Blades extended from Reaper's arms. The Titan tried to crush it. But Reaper dodged again, stabbing into the Titan's leg with a plasma blade. The battle of giants had begun. From the walls of Bastion 9, the Karnak and humans watched in silence. It was like watching titans from ancient myths. Every blow shook the sky. Every hit sent sparks flying. But Reaper was smarter, faster, controlled by a human mind that had trained for this moment. Inside the cockpit, Hartley focused hard. Her systems blinked warnings. Armor damage, 28%. Core temperature rising. She didn't care. This ends now, she whispered. She activated overdrive mode. Reaper's armor glowed. Its energy system surged. Bastion 9 was quiet but tense. The hive nest was destroyed. The queen was dead, but the Xarn were far from finished. Commander Velthar stood by the observation window, looking at the stars. The dark shapes of Karn ships hovered nearby. They were ready for the final attack. Captain Rains joined him, armor still scratched from the last battle. They're coming, Rains said. Velthar nodded. This is the last fight. If we lose, Bastion 9 falls. If we win, we might have a future. Inside the base, soldiers prepared for war. Reaper was repaired and fully charged. Commander Hartley was ready to fight again. The humans and Karnak stood side by side, united and determined. Rains walked through the ranks, speaking to his soldiers. We have fought hard. We have lost friends. But today, we stand together for everything we love. For our homes, for our families, for our future. The soldiers cheered. Outside, the Karn fleet advanced. Hundreds of ships darkened the sky, moving like a black cloud. From the command ship, Overmind Jaren watched and smiled. They will break, it said coldly. The humans and Karnak will fall. Suddenly, the sky erupted in light. Bastion 9's defense turrets fired lasers and plasma bolts. Fighters took to the air. The battle had begun. Reaper led the charge. With Hartley inside, it was a symbol of hope. The giant machine charged into the enemy fleet, blasting ships with powerful cannons. On the ground, soldiers fought wave after wave of Tarn troops. The walls shook under heavy fire. Explosions lit the sky like lightning. Rains and Velthar fought side by side, leading the defense. The battle was brutal. Xarn warriors swarmed the walls, climbing and attacking. Karnak warriors used their blades and spears to push them back. Human soldiers fired rifles and grenades, holding the line. Reaper smashed through enemy armor, roaring like a beast. Suddenly, Overmind Jaren sent its secret weapon. A massive ship broke through the fighters. It was a planet destroyer cannon, a giant weapon designed to wipe out Bastion 9 with one shot. Rain saw the cannon charging. "We have seconds," he shouted. Hartley reacted fast. Reaper ran toward the cannon, dodging fire. With one powerful strike, Reaper crashed into the weapon's core. Sparks flew. The cannon shook. The Xarn tried to repair it, but Reaper kept attacking. Finally, with a massive explosion, the cannon was destroyed. But the battle wasn't over. Xarn warriors poured through a secret tunnel under the walls. Velthar spotted them. "We need to seal the tunnel." Rains and a team rushed to the tunnel entrance. They fought hard, blocking the Xarn soldiers with everything they had. Inside the tunnel, the fight was close and deadly. Blades clashed, guns fired. The walls echoed with screams. At the last moment, the tunnel was sealed with explosives. The enemy trapped inside. Back on the battlefield, the Xarn began to retreat. Their fleet pulled back into space. Velthar and Rains watched. "We won," Velthar said softly. "For now," Rains replied. The sun rose over Bastion 9. The battle was over. The base was damaged, but standing. Soldiers cheered. Survivors hummed. The war had changed them all. Rains looked at the horizon. "We fought impossible odds. We fell, but we stood back up. We fought as one." Velthar smiled. "The humans and Karnak together. That is our true strength." In the stars above, the Xarn fleet disappeared. But in the silence, one warning remained. The war was not over. The universe was watching. And humans had only just begun to rise. The war was not over, but the tide had turned. Varelian skies were still dark with smoke and stars with burning ships. But this time, the people looked up with hope, not fear. Captain Ares stood on the highest tower of the Talari city. Below, the people gathered to watch the sunrise, something they hadn't seen in years. Beside him, Elder Mevin spoke softly. "This dawn, it is different. It is ours." Ares nodded. "We fought hard. We lost much. But now, we have a chance to build something new." The alliance between humans and Talari had grown stronger than anyone imagined. Together, they had beaten back the Empire's greatest weapons. Together, they had freed slaves and broken chains. But the Empire was not finished. Far away, the High Lord's voice echoed through dark halls. "They think this is the end. It is only the beginning." Back on Varelian, the people rebuilt their homes and lives. Children played in the streets again. Soldiers trained with new determination. Scientists worked to repair the damage and prepare new defenses. Captain Ares called a meeting with his closest allies. "We must be ready," he said. "The Empire will strike again, but we will be stronger." Elder Maven smiled. "We have learned much. We are no longer afraid." Lieutenant Ramos added, "The galaxy is watching now. Other worlds will join us." Suddenly, a scout ship arrived with urgent news. "A new fleet approaches," the pilot said, breathless. Thousands of ships, from the outer sectors. Ares and the Council stared at the star map. "This is the Empire's last great attempt," Ares said. "But this time, we are ready." The next battle was the greatest yet. Thousands of ships filled the space around Varelian. Lasers flashed like lightning storms. Explosions lit the darkness like fireworks. On the front lines, Kira flew her fighter with skill and courage. She dodged enemy fighter, protecting the capital below. Behind her, the Talari warriors fought side by side with human soldiers. Inside the command ship, Ares gave orders with calm precision. "We hold the line, protect the people, and never give up." The battle raged for hours. Ships were lost. Heroes were born. The sky was filled with fire and hope. Then, the unexpected happened. A message came from deep space. It was from an unknown race, peaceful, powerful, and watching the war closely. They offered help. Captain Ayres and Elder Maven met with the new allies. "We want peace," the new leader said, "but we will fight if we must." Together, they planned a final strike to end the war. The last battle began with surprise and fury. The new allies' technology helped break the Empire's lines. The humans and Teleri fought with all their strength. In the heart of the fight, Ares faced the High Lord in a final duel. They clashed with weapons and wills. But Ares' courage and hope were stronger. The High Lord was defeated. The Empire's control shattered. As the battle ended, the new dawn came truly. Planets once enslaved were free. New alliances formed across the stars. The galaxy changed forever. Back on Varelion, people celebrated their freedom. Captain Ayres looked at the sunrise again. "This is the new dawn," he said softly. "Not just for us, for all who believe in hope and strength." Elder Maven placed a hand on his shoulder. "The future is bright." And so, humanity's warriors had arrived, not just to fight, but to lead the galaxy into a new age, where hope burned brighter than any star, where courage never died, where freedom was more than a dream.